Hey everybody, Tyler here, Boulevard Home. I'm here with Lindsay. She is our resident expert in all things cooking. And what we're going to do today is try to conquer that age-old question of which mixer is better, the KitchenAid or the Bosch. So how are we going to do that? We're going to take 5 metrics that we're going to compare, and hopefully that gives you, as a consumer, a better idea of which mixer will be best for you as you are looking at making your purchase. So what 5 things are we going to cover today, Lindsay?
So we've got probably one of the best ones is your size capacity. You know, if you've got a smaller family, a larger family, things you're going to be mixing with it. Price point, definitely a big one there.
We have attachments, right? Some people love their attachments. What attachments go with each type of mixer?
Right, and motor. So the strength of each mixer, they are different. So something also to consider when you're looking at purchasing one.
And finally, possibly the style that you're looking for, what looks best, what works best for you, and what options there are for that. To compare these 5 things, today we're going to make cookies.
I've got the KitchenAid here. The attachment on this one is just our dough paddle, which is just a single paddle, works great.
And the comparison to that on the Bosch is with all Bosch attachments, you get two paddles versus the 1 paddle. These ones are metal, obviously, so you don't want to throw those into the dishwasher.
Nope.
Where these ones are plastic, which can go into a dishwasher.
They can. If you're a bread baker, this is your dough hook. So just very simple in design, but does a great job.
The difference there is, here's the dough hooks on a Bosch. Again, there's 2 arms. And then there's also a scraper. Which
is a really good feature, that if you want the dough scraper, you actually have to buy a separate attachment for this. None of their attachments actually come with that attached on there, and
the attachments we're talking about today are the standard attachments that usually come with the mixer.
And then you've got your whisk attachment, which again is just your single attachment. It's just the wire whisk.
And the Bosch is 2 wire whisks instead of the 1. So those are the differences on the standard attachments that come with the Bosch mixer or the KitchenAid mixer.
And then standard to the Bosch is also the dough scraper is standard.
And here's the dough scraper, and the dough scraper can go on all the attachments, right? Which helps scrape the bowl automatically.
Right, and that's something that is an extra with your KitchenAid.
So our second thing we want to compare today is the personalization that KitchenAid and Bosch have. So let's first talk KitchenAid.
So KitchenAid comes standard with your metal bowl, but you can get a glass bowl option, which is a really nice feature. It's more of a cosmetic feature just for the looks, for you having it out on, say, your countertop. There really isn't a cooking benefit having opposed to the glass to the metal. You have the dough shield, that again is another attachment that some of the models you can get with. It's great because it comes standard with the Bosch. And then I think the biggest thing is your color options, which multiple colors on this. This is the platinum color, but they've got from all your primary colors, your blues, your blacks, your whites, reds, pastel colors.
So if you need a color, you want a color, your option is KitchenAid, right? Because with Bosch, the colors you have are, you see it here, white. Or the only other really personalization option you have with a Bosch mixer is you can change the bowl to a metal bowl. But outside of additional attachments, that's as personalized you can make a Bosch mixer versus KitchenAid, many options.
Right. I think another thing to point out too with the KitchenAid, so your surround and basically components are all metal, whereas the Bosch, is plastic. So that's just another option, I think, where some people prefer the look of this opposed to maybe the Bosch, or vice versa, they prefer the look.
And a lot of times people do feel, mixers are heavy, but when they have large loads, they're moving around. One thing that the Bosch does have is on the bottom, they actually have suction cups. So that's something different.
They do.
So to cover the next 3 areas that we wanted to compare the Bosch mixer to the KitchenAid mixer, we're going to jump in and start making some cookies. Just to begin with, because the Bosch mixer comes with a larger size capacity bowl, we're going to do a double batch of cookies here versus a single batch here in the KitchenAid mixer. So let's jump into it.
Awesome. We've got the sugar, brown and white, and the butter in, and this is something that we have to mix for 3 to 5 minutes. We're actually going to go 5 minutes on these. So we're going to get these started, and then we can compare how each mixer mixes it all up in a minute.
So we've made it through the first section of the recipe, which called for harder butter, right? Not melted butter.
Yeah.
And a couple things we found, which was interesting, is the Bosch mixer, first off, as we used harder butter, the cake paddles wouldn't mix them very well.
Yeah,
that was a challenge. It was pushing them around, whereas the cake paddle or the dough hook on the KitchenAid mixed that a lot better to begin with.
Yeah, this did a lot better, but it didn't get it.
However, right, once
creamy.
the butter was kind of mixed in, what we found is the Bosch mixer ended up creaming it much better. So after we've mixed in all the flour, we're comparing the different consistencies of the dough. And you can see there is a difference. This is the Bosch dough, which looks a little fluffier.
And it's a double batch.
It is a double batch.
And I've got the single batch in the KitchenAid. And this is a dense dough, but you can see how just the Bosch seems to have mixed it a lot more creamier. I think a better consistency than what I've got for this recipe out of the KitchenAid.
So now we're gonna start adding chocolate chips.
Yeah.
And as you can see, the size of the bowls are not much different in size. This is a 5.5 quart, this is a 6 quart, but you'll see this one has handled the larger capacity much better than the KitchenAid has.
Yeah, for this recipe, the bowl size could have handled it, but the machine itself with the smaller motor would not have been able to blend and
to power through it like
the Bosch has.
So as we saw the two mixers mixing, with this being a double recipe, that being a single recipe, we heard the KitchenAid struggling a little bit.
It did.
It came out, it worked fine, right? It worked.
Yep.
However, the Bosch with the double recipe, it just powered through it and struggled even less than the KitchenAid on one.
Right. And if this was all you had and just doing simple everyday recipes, I mean, it would work awesome for you. But I think you've got the upper hand on this one with the nicer mixing.
I think it's just the person who made them, but that's okay.
Keep thinking that.
So as you can see, we've got our finished product here, and both of the cookies look delicious and amazing. So obviously both mixers can do an amazing job, a great job. In summary, we compared the Bosch mixer to the KitchenAid mixer. The 5 items, which were power, which were size, which were price, attachments, and personalization. Right? Those were the 5 things, and overall, if we just compare all of those, let's first summarize quickly which one ended up performing better for each category. So first off, price.
I think value for money, hands down the Bosch.
Okay, so value for the money, hands down, if you get the same attachment, same power here. However, if you're on a budget, KitchenAid does offer options that are cheaper and give you some options there if you need to do. Okay, power and size, I think both go here.
Again,
right?
Bosch,
Without a doubt. Comes standard with 800 watt versus the KitchenAid. This one, similar size, is 450, so almost half the power.
And it showed definitely in the mixing. That definitely did a better job.
And then personalization, we lean KitchenAid.
Absolutely.
Right? If you want a color for your kitchen, you want it
color,
to match.
Glass bowl option, definitely. And I think visually, out on your counter, this has a little smarter look than
more of a
Bosch.
Designer look,
it does.
Sophisticated look.
Yeah.
And then last off is accessories. Overall accessories, they come standard with similar accessories. Bosch, however, we feel like has that leg up just a little bit because they offer more options everywhere from the blender option to even ice cream maker.
Food processor.
So overall, our recommendation, if you're looking for a good food mixer, we would recommend the Bosch. If you can get both, there's value to both. but if you were looking for one, we recommend the Bosch mixer. Lindsay's already focused on the cookies.
I am.
She can't focus anywhere else. But
They look so delicious.
We're gonna post this recipe that we just used in the description, so watch that there. We're so excited. Thank you for watching today. Please subscribe to our channel. We do all sorts of fun things like bake cookies. And so let's try these, Lindsay, and let's go have a great day. Thanks for watching.
Ooh, don't forget to ring the bell.